Good morning, Paul. It's the 1st of February, a Wednesday. Here's the heads up brief for today. For the Southeast Asia production, we covered 16 issues. In North Asia, we covered 5. And for Australasia and the Pacific Islands, we covered 4 issues. In South Asia, we covered 17 issues, plus the major issues in Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Yeah, hi, great stuff. Go ahead, Uday.
So, Paul, today's the 2-year anniversary of the military coup in Myanmar. The United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia have announced new sanctions against the military government. And there are rumors now that the military may just suspend the elections completely.
Okay, let's keep a close eye on that. Obviously, Australia, 2 years down the track, announces sanctions. They used the excuse to cover their dangling that there'd been an Australian journalist that was arrested and they didn't want to announce sanctions until they got him home safely. So, for the sake of one journalist, they risked the entire safety of all the population of Myanmar. So that wouldn't have, of course, just been, it took them a long time to do it. But that's the misinformation coming out of Canberra this week. Thank you.
Right. In Indonesia, police announced the extension of the Karten's Peace Task Force operations in the Papuan provinces. They will focus on law enforcement and specifically on keeping the West Papua National Liberation Army away from urban centers.
Won't necessarily do it. They'll talk about doing it. It's more a PR exercise. Clearly, the TPN-PB has an agility and a motivation that isn't shared within the police forces of Indonesia.
Right. Paul, Indonesia also plans to offer 10 oil and gas working areas this year to expand reserves and make new discoveries. They also want to resume stalled talks on the Indonesia Deepwater Development Project, which is offshore in East Kalimantan, and the Masala gas plant, which is in the Malukus. Chevron and Shell have shown interest in the last 2 projects.
Okay, great, thanks. And Indonesia used to be, of course, a net exporter. Now it's a net importer. Both corruption and inefficiencies, bureaucracy, and nationalism weigh down their ability to have appropriate contracts to stimulate foreign direct investment. They've treated foreign direct investors poorly over the decades. Hopefully this is a change in mentality, though how long that will last amidst those challenges, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you.
In the Philippines, authorities apprehended 2 vessels carrying 400,000 liters of smuggled diesel in Tawi-Tawi. This is close to Sabah's east coast. The vessels were coming from Malaysia.
Okay, yeah, look, so let's consolidate that with the apprehension of fuel smuggling data last week, put it into a consolidated briefing, and then let's perhaps cover off on that for clients, okay, in an audio format.
Yeah, sure, we'll do, Paul. In Japan, NATO Secretary General met with the Japanese Prime Minister yesterday. They discussed China as a mutual threat. They also discussed North Korea and strengthening ties between NATO and Tokyo.
Yeah, look, this whole NATO for peace thing starting to really be a catalyst for the splitting of the powers across the globe. It seems to be a very unnecessary, antagonistic risk escalation mechanism rather than a peace-oriented one. It really does seem to be that the Western America really wants to get its way, do its thing, and it's not really concerned about how that leads to conflict or wars. Even perhaps that is the motivation, Ukraine, Taiwan, Korea and Japan involving into Atlantic. I'm not sure how they sort of justify all this, but they keep developing non-existential threats in the name of peace. Can't see any real outcome for that except escalation of violence. Can't see any really good outcome when you strip away Western politics and their myopic, narcissistic desires, all justified by them thinking they have a right to have a superior system, that they are superior beings and they can treat anyone how they are and how they want. Thank you.
Right. In Auckland, 3 people were injured in a building collapse due to a landslide. Disruptions are continuing as the rains continue. River levels are quite high due to the heavy rainfall over the last few weeks. So flooding is high also in the northern parts of the country.
Yeah, that rain event's quite horrendous. The disruptions, obviously the flooding of Auckland Airport, the disruptions of flights, the effect on rail and road. This isn't just an unusual event, it's an extraordinary event. 800% times the monthly average fell in a day there last Friday, and these rains are continuing.
Right. Moving over to South Asia, in Pakistan, authorities are pressing ahead with a corruption case against Imran Khan. They said that his bail will be revoked if he doesn't attend his next summons, and a court will also indict him on the 7th of February. His protesters have threatened action.
Okay, it's lingering on, isn't it? So let's just see how
Yep.
that continues to unfold. The normality is abnormality in Pakistan, so it's not having a great impact. It's just their continued madness for which they're all well prepared. Thanks.
Right. Also in Pakistan, authorities foiled a terror attack in Mianwali in Punjab yesterday. We're releasing an alert on this soon.
Thank you.
In the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region, in France, around 85,000 people protested in Paris yesterday against the pension reform. The Interior Ministry said that 1 million people protested nationwide against the pension reform, and there were also strikes at petroleum refineries. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And in Nigeria, the Election Commission said that the ongoing nationwide fuel scarcity is affecting election logistics. Hundreds of protesters also demonstrated over the lack of fuel in Benin City and Edo State.
Okay, thanks very much, Uday.
Paul, that's a brief for today. Anything else from you?
No, there's a few things I want to carry off on, particularly in the Highlands of Papua, but privately after this call. Thank you.